Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Gizmo Joe. Again, this is another quick video in my Christmas haul series, if you want to call it that. But basically, I got some adapters for, this is kind of boring, I will admit, but it is for anyone who is thinking about traveling to Australia. You might want to pick these up. These guys were pretty cheap. They are basically power adapters. Now, the reason why I picked these up is because, again, my family lives in the United States. I live in Australia. I recently did a video on these little Anker power bricks that I got. It was a 2-pack, they're 20 watt, etc., and they're great here in the States, but unfortunately Australia's power points do not look like this, right? So I needed an adapter to essentially work with these power bricks. Now the problem with the Australian adapters is that they can be quite bulky. They're huge, right? And traditionally, they'll be acceptable for other countries and all that sort of stuff, and it wasn't something that I needed, so I had to look on Amazon. I found this brand here, which I think is an unfortunate name, Septix, or I don't really know how to pronounce that. But anyway, they're 2-in-1 little travel adapters. Like I said, they're good for Australia. So I'm just going to open these up. I'm going to show you. It's a 3-pack, so you get 3 of these guys. And the idea was that I wanted something that was relatively flush, relatively small against the wall. So as you can see, it has your US plug. It has your ground. It has the 2 prongs. So for this adapter, it would just fit in like that, and it works, right? Now, if you flick it over on the other side, this is your Australian configuration. You've got the 2 prongs, but they're on that sort of like weird angle, and then you've got your ground. So that would plug into my outlet back in Australia. I can take my US power brick and just plug it in, and it's not terribly large. So again, it's, a little thick, but again, most of them are quite large. And, I'll be able to use this power brick in Australia with this. I will say that these guys are pretty nicely made. Like they feel, again, I guess it doesn't mean anything when you're talking about electronics, but, they feel pretty sturdy. I've seen some really cheap, really god-awful travel adapters in the past. These look like they're pretty solid. The Amazon reviews were all pretty solid, so I don't think that there's any danger there. But one of the things I really liked about it, as you could probably tell from the video, is the option to put it on the top. So now again, like I said, Australian plugs are like this. You've got the 2 prongs that are on the angle on the top, then you've got your ground. So that's going to plug into my wall like that. Now, obviously, this charging brick is pretty small. It's not the smallest in the world, but, if I plug it in here, it does jut out from the wall quite a bit. Like, you can see that, right? So, that's not ideal if, your outlet is, let's say, behind, like, a table or something like that, and, and then you've got the cables coming out of it and all that sort of stuff. Like, it's just not ideal. What I really liked about these was the fact that you can plug it in on the top. Now, obviously, this doesn't have the ground, but it doesn't matter for something like this, which is just the charging brick. I can plug it in on the top, and now it's on a little bit of an angle, but it solves the problem of this brick kind of jutting out too far, right? So again, this is what's in my wall, and then you've kind of got a nice flush. I wish it wasn't on this angle. I wish that their design was kind of more of a box so that it stood up straight, but I can live with it. And then, you've got access to your ports up at the top. So again, if you've got, like, let's say, I don't know, a PowerPoint behind a chair or a desk or a couch, right? You can use it in this configuration, run your cables up, and, you're not going to have any issues. So for me, these sort of adapters were ideal because they had that top option. So again, if you're like me, if you're traveling to Australia or if you spend time in Australia or whatever, give these a look. I'll leave a link in the description so you can find them, but they were pretty cheap. Build quality is pretty good, and I love the fact that it's got that top option to plug your devices in. But anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. This is Gizmo Joe, signing off.